Welcome to Best Effort Recovery, a brand new YouTube channel, hosted by myself, Jonathan Beachy, and my 6-year-old bloodhound, Sally. I just got a message from a guy in Macomb, Illinois. Shot a buck this morning. Left it for an hour or so. Came back and load up, Sally. Came back and tracked it an hour later. Jumped the buck. Come on. There you go. Good girl. There. She's loaded. He tracked it for about an hour, then jumped it. Came back 3 hours later and didn't find more blood, so he gave me a message. Unfortunately, the United Blood Trackers app or website doesn't seem to be working, and he wasn't able to find anybody closer. I couldn't get it to work either to find anybody else's number, so I decided to take the call. He thinks it's a liver hit. He sent me pictures of the blood. That looks like a legitimate conclusion to me. Checking my backpack, make sure I got everything in here I need. I should grab a fresh battery for my light. Okay, so this track happened October 1st of 2019. Like I said, I was called to Macomb, Illinois. So that was about a 4.5 hour drive for me. I started here at 5 o'clock in the evening. Got there about 9:30. He had a video showing the shot. As close as I could tell, he hit probably here at about H6 on this picture. And the deer was quartered to him, so he came out further back on the other side. He was using a compound bow, 70 pounds draw weight, 31-inch arrow, NAP Spitfire broadhead 3-blader. So he had something like a 2-inch cutting diameter. Anyway, I got there at 9:30, put Sally on the track, and I forgot my GoPro camera, and I figured I would just try to get some video with my phone, but my hands were busy operating the leash, and that didn't happen. So here's the best I can do to show you how things happened. Is the track off my tracking collar. So the blue line is Sally, and the green line is me. So we started back at the shot site, which is right here, and Sally locked on and took us right down the path to where they had last blood. Right there she did a little loop that wasn't necessary. Right here. Right there they had last blood was about right in here. He went through a pretty big creek, came out the edge of the field. So that's 186 yards. Earlier I checked it, right at the edge of the woods it was 170 yards. And I didn't see any blood in the field there. Sally came out, checked around a little bit, and then took off down the edge of the woods here. I didn't see any blood anywhere. So right there, she went back into the woods, and we had a little bit of blood about right in here. Probably right there where my path and her path cross. That is at 370 yards. So I figured that's about 170 yards that she went without any blood. And then from there we had blood off and on. We would go a couple, I don't know, 10, 20, 30, 40 yards, it depended. Then we'd see blood. Across the creek, yeah, I think right here we're going right down through the bottom of the creek. Found a dead doe down there, probably a victim of EHD. Stank like crazy. It was so bad I almost threw up. I don't know how in the world Sally was able to smell, but I guess that's why I use her instead of my nose. Anyway, that buck went maybe 5 yards beside that doe. But it didn't seem to bother Sally at all. She goes up to the top of the hill and makes a loop, comes back down, and goes back up. It seemed like the buck had bedded down up here on top of the hill in several places. And I think what happened is he came back down and went over this direction, over into here. And Sally wasn't able to figure that out. It was really hot last night, probably 80 degrees, and this whole area was full of Russian olives. So I was down on my hands and knees, bent over, trying to follow Sally through that mess, and kind of got a little disoriented. But at one point, probably right there, she just stopped and sat on her butt, hung out her tongue, was panting. I think she almost overheated. So I gave her a couple minutes and she rested, and then she started working again, searching for where that buck left the area. So she came out toward, that's like a CRP field or something there. And she comes back down and checks this out. Did some backtracking. I may have taken her back there myself. I'm not quite sure how that all happened. But watching this thing play out, and I messaged the hunter back and told him what I feel happened. So I think what happened is the buck came up here and bedded, and then sometime along the line he got up, came back down the hill across the creek, and probably bedded down over here someplace. I don't know, was he dead when I was there tracking or not. It was 15 hours after the shot, and being a liver shot, he should have been dead. That's what I thought it was, but I think he was shot a little further back than that, so there's a good chance he was still alive. I did hear something over in this area, but I just figured it was a live deer or a different deer. It could have been him, I don't know. At the time I was thinking that he was probably out here in the grass field somewhere. So I went out there with Sally, and she was sniffing through there. Almost seemed like she wanted to come over into this next tip of woods, over into here. And then she turned around and came back and took off this way. And I didn't see any sign of blood or anything up that way. So we decided to come back over into that tip, see if we could maybe see or smell him or anything. It ended up we didn't. So we called the track and headed back. Looks like we did 1.1 miles although a lot of that was done just in circling around in this area. As close as I could tell, this area is about 800 yards. I think 800 yards from where we started. So I don't know. I just hate it when you know that the deer's going to die and you're unable to recover him. But it happens. I kind of hesitate putting this video out there, but it's part of the real world. So a dog isn't necessarily a foolproof method. But you can see the hunter lost blood way back here, and we found blood all the way over here. So we definitely have a better idea of where the buck went to die. So I imagine that the hunter's going to be watching for buzzards and things, and probably go back in there today to look for that buck. And hopefully he finds him. He'd be ashamed to shoot him and never figure out what happened with him. I think if I were to do it over, I would probably come back down in here and check this area out some more. But sometimes you just need to take the deer that you don't find and revisit it and see where you could have done better. And it's a growing experience both for the hunter and for the tracker.
Please like, share, and subscribe to tag along through the 2019 tracking season, occurring in Illinois and Indiana, unless otherwise noted.